Hello, and welcome back to Penguin Projects. In today's video, I have a bit of an interesting one. I was going around in charity shops recently because sometimes you can find some cool stuff, and I came across this. So it's a Dungeons and Dragons board game. I didn't know this was a thing. It says it's from like 2003, so I was 1 year old when this was out. But a lot of the parts are missing out of it, so it's not actually playable. But it does have a lot of the minis, so I thought it'd be fun in today's video just to paint up some retro minis. And they're still D&D monsters, so I'll still be able to use them, and just thought it'd be a bit of a fun one. So as usual, let's hop over to the workbench and get started. So first, showing off what I got in the box. So we got these ogres, these spectre looking things, skeletons, they're always useful, these weird slug things, gnolls, goblin, bugbears, a very flat-faced troll, some wrights. I picked my favourites and we're just going to Zenithal prime them. So I'm going to be painting the bugbears, ogres, gnolls, wights, and there's like a lich model. So starting with the bugbears, I'm using this beastie brown to base coat pretty much the whole miniature, just to give it a nice undertone of that kind of brown across all the fur and leather and stuff like that. For the nose, I'm using a mixture of leather brown and bone white, and doing like a very quick kind of wet blend between them to give it that kind of transition that hyenas have between their like underbelly fur and the tops of them. Just base coating all the fur. For the ogres, I'm using the beastie brown again and just coating all the fur, and then decided it would actually be a good undertone for the muscle structure as well. Then for the whites, I'm just using Stonewall Grey and the beastie brown for all the leathers. Just doing this really fast and really messy. Just getting the colour on there and getting it on as fast as possible, really. Now I'm just using black to base coat all the metallic pieces, because we're going to go for a worn iron kind of look. So having that black undertone is really important for that. Making sure to catch all those chains as well that the bugbear has wrapped around them. Just using the side of the brush to kind of catch those details, and trying my best not to get any on the skin. Then the bugbears also have this head hanging from their belt, so I just painted the hair black for that. Now just the ogre has the shoulder pads that I'm going to do in the same metallic iron as the rest. And now just coating all the fur of the gnolls in the umber wash, just to give us as much detail as fast as possible. That's going to soak in and highlight all the fur details. Then for the ogre, to give it a different color, I'm using black, and same for the bugbear, I'm using that black again. And just, I really like to put a good bit of wash on and then go back and clean it up. And the whites I just covered completely in the black wash, just because it works so well with that Stonewall Grey. And then I'll go back with a damp brush and clean up any of those extra bits that are left on it. You don't want it to pool, because it can cause like strange kind of staining, and we're not after that. So now just using a kind of old brush that's all kind of chipped up, I'm using that gunmetal silver and just kind of lightly tapping all the silver parts. It kind of gives it that cool worn effect real fast. And same thing on the ogre's shoulder pad. Just doing that across all the metallic pieces. Just kind of light brushing of the metallic colour on it. Now you're probably seeing a few spots I missed when it comes to the brown and stuff, but it's fine, I go back and touch up them. I'm more like just rush through, and especially when batch painting, just get all the base colours on. Now I'm going in with a mix of that leather brown and the bone white. Create this lighter colour to start doing the highlights around the face, because The wash really dulls the paint, then mixing up a highlight color and then going and touching the ears and the sides of the face and around the snout, just to really kind of grab your attention towards that. We're not going for anything too fancy. I like the kind of minion miniatures, like gnolls and all these kind of background characters, and the enemies to be in a more kind of muted palette, so they kind of blend in more with the terrain and they just feel a part of it a bit more than the players. And I think you can add and highlight when character miniatures are on the field, because all the minions kind of look the same kind of color scheme, and then you have these big villains with like strong colors and stuff. That's usually how I like to paint them. So now just going in with a black and a smaller tipped brush and just dabbing the eyes. You can see I overspilt a little bit, but you just go back with your highlight color and kind of cut back into that. Then I'm also coloring the lips black for the nose, gives them that kind of dog appearance, and then just tapping black spots onto the lighter fur, just give them that hyena look, just kind of randomly placing them on. After the black wash, you can see how dull they ended up. So I'm actually just using Stonewall Grey again. I didn't lighten it, and just tapping everywhere that needs that to be brought back. So I did a very heavy wash on these, probably heavier than you normally would. But again, these are just minion models, so I like to make them as punchy as possible. So doing all these kind of quick highlights and deep shadows, I think just gives them a cool contrast and almost makes them look kind of cartoony, which some people might not be a fan of, but I think it looks quite cool, especially for these old kind of retro models. Now using a similar color to the one I mixed up for the nose, I'm just going and highlighting all the bugbear skin, kind of leaving a good bit of the beastly brown in the shadows, basically just highlighting again and leaving those deep contrasts, because as it starts to dry you can kind of see where it's going and then where it needs more. And you can see all the muscle definition there. I just left like stark lines of where the sculpt is, and I think it works. Now for the ogre, I was going to do a similar color scheme to the others, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of, with the way this is sculpted, to go for like almost like bright pink, just to give it that kind of irritated skin look, just because I feel the sculpt on these is so cool. It just looks real stretched, like his skin is too small for his body or something, I don't know, but I just wanted to try lean more into that kind of gross, like irritated skin color. So that's our first batch of highlights, and then just going back with the leather brown this time on top of the beastly brown is a nice quick highlight color, and just kind of touching up all the hide that he's wearing, using the side of my brush to do like a streaking motion to catch those furs, and then again using the side of my brush just to get the leather gauntlets that the ogre's wearing. I'm just kind of focusing my highlights in one spot for like a quick easy contrast and highlights the details that were sculpted in, and then doing the exact same for the lich and the whites. Can never say that for some reason. But yeah, just going in and highlighting the very tops of the fabric. You can see all the folds. I'm just doing a quick leather brown highlight on top of that beastly brown, and it gives a very quick effect. Again, these do like turn out quite cartoony, but I like it. Now I'm just using a contrast army painter red, I forget the name, but I think it's bloody red or something. But and just touching the eyes there of the staff, and then the eyes of the lich and the whites, to just do like a very quick kind of glowing eye effect. Then I'm going in with this yellow kind of orange for the bugbears, and just very finely touching the eyes. I think the bugbears and the ogres are easily my favorites. I think they came out the best, and I think you can kind of tell with how much like I feel like I gave them extra care. But you know, it's just whatever you're enjoying painting. I watered down that red contrast paint just to highlight the lips there, and I used bone white for the tusks. Then using that same red, I'm just going in and colouring the ogre's mouth, because he's kind of snarling so you can see his gums and stuff. So I just get a quick splotch of red in there and around the lips. And I decided, because we have the pink going, I just go with a bright teal for their eyes. Just give it a kind of nice pop of colour against the pink. I think it worked really well. And then I'm using a more kind of yellowy color for their teeth, just because I thought the bone white would just be too extreme of a jump between the pink and the blue. So I think this kind of closer to yellow complements it better. And now just using my brush again, I'm doing a very small pupil for the bugbears. And that's it. Now we're on to the reveal. So I set up my dungeon tiles just to give you a quick look of how they might look with the tiles in place. I'm really happy with how these came out. The bugbears and the ogres, as I said, are easily my favourite. But I do think all of them came out well, especially for tabletop play. Like, I love painting miniatures, and I don't want to have to feel like I have to bring every miniature I paint to the highest standard I can do. Sometimes it's fun just to grab a bunch of monsters that you're going to use as background miniatures and just paint them as fast as you can and not have to worry about, like, you know, how cleanly they're done. I think these, for the time I spent, like a day of painting, and I was able to get all these painted and ready for the table. I think it's pretty good. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and took a little bit of inspo from it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, and I'm excited to try keep making these videos. I'm having a lot of fun with it, so hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.